Hey, it's Chris, back at you with another video. So today I'm going to be talking to you all about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a new Marvel movie about a actual doctor, like a medical doctor who's involved in a car crash. It ruins his hands and he pretty much goes into ruin and he's really upset, and he tries to find a way to heal his hands. Due to being upset and distraught at his injuries, he tries to look for different ways to heal his hands, and he eventually goes to this sacred monastery where he ends up learning magic. He doesn't actually get his hands healed, but he learns magic, and by learning magic, he meets someone called the Ancient One who becomes his master. He hangs out with other magicians, and the movie is essentially about their adventures battling evil dark forces. The first thing I'm going to say about this movie is that Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange does a very good job. This movie in a lot of ways is kind of being compared to the first Iron Man, because what it does is that it takes a character who's kind of a dick, and he has to be hurt and humbled, and eventually he's able to achieve greatness. And Cumberbatch does that role pretty well. I mean, this is a Marvel movie, so he's really quippy. He says a lot of jokes under his breath, and similar to an Iron Man fashion, which is a little different from the Doctor Strange of the comics, but I think the Benedict Cumberbatch does it well. He looks like Doctor Strange, his magical powers are cool, and he's a good lead. Baron Mordo is also really good. His character is kind of set up to be almost like an opposite to Doctor Strange. While Doctor Strange kind of starts off really low and ends the movie at a high point, Mordo kind of starts the movie at a high point, and by the end of the movie sort of reaches a low point. And for people who read the comics, Baron Mordo is a villain. In this movie, he's a good guy, at least for a little while. If you end up reading comics and you know who Baron Mordo is and what he does, I will say that they're definitely going to go the way that you think they will. Wong is really funny. He's a librarian who pretty much watches over all the sacred magical books that they have in the monastery, and his whole shtick is that he's super serious all the time and never laughs, and they kind of, in a Marvel movie where people are cracking jokes and one-liners all the time, it's kind of funny just to have a guy there who's just, very stone-faced and just doesn't, it's just very no-nonsense. The Ancient One, played by Tilda Swinton, also does a decent job. She does look like a monk, like someone who would know how to do magic. All the power, and I'll get to effects later, but all the powers that she has are really cool to see. I know there was some drama behind her casting because the Ancient One is meant to be an Asian person in the comics, but in the movie they made them white, and some people were talking about whitewashing and whatnot. I'm not really going to say that it's cultural appropriation or not, but I believe that the actress did a good job with what she was given. Because part of the problem you have is that, well, if you cast, a ton of Asian people who know martial arts and know how to do magical, mystical things, some people may say that, well, then you're casting stereotypes. Well, then if you cast white people in those roles, some people say it's cultural appropriation. So it's kind of a weird thing, and I do think the studio was kind of in a lose-lose situation. But I'm not Asian, so I'm not going to say definitively if I think that this movie, and especially with the character of the Ancient One, if they're stealing from Asian culture or not, because quite frankly, I'm ignorant on the topic and I just don't know. Rachel McAdams, played by Christine Palmer, is kind of like Strange's love interest person in the film. They don't really give her a ton to do. She's pretty much there to be the normal human character that has to react to all the magical craziness that's going on. I thought the actress did a decent job, but if you're someone who's looking for female characters to do a little bit more, I think that they could have done more with her than just have her, be a nurse and heal people, and heal people up and just be the person kind of reacting to things. Hopefully, if there's a Doctor Strange sequel, maybe she can either learn magic herself or do something where you know, her character and her relationship with Strange is more of a plot point, because she's there a little bit in the first act, and then afterward, the villain of this movie's name is Caecilius, and he's played by Mads Mikkelsen, and he's sort of this dark mage that worships this dark overlord named Dormammu. He's really cool to look at power-wise, but like many Marvel movies, he's underdeveloped. We don't get a lot about his backstory, and the Doctor Strange movie is only 90 minutes, so if they made the cut of this movie, you know, 10-15 minutes longer, you could have gotten a lot more, I think, character development with the villain, which I think would have helped the movie a little bit, because that's the problem with these Marvel movies, man, is a lot of these villains are just you know, just very meh. The last character I want to talk about is the character of Dormammu. Dormammu, like this evil dark overlord that the main villain of the movie is kind of working for. And with him, you do see him in the movie, but probably not in the form that most people who read comics are used to seeing him. And he's really in the background for the most part. He doesn't necessarily like he doesn't necessarily have like a huge physical battle with the hero. With him, they try to do something different. They try to make him more of like a godlike figure that's sort of like in the shadows. So if you're a fan of like Dormammu actually going out and like fighting people, you're not gonna get that with Doctor Strange, just so you know. But the role they do put him in, I thought was interesting and different, and just, you know, not the same as many blockbuster movies we've seen before. So, in my opinion, what's the best part about this movie? The best part about this movie is the effects. A lot of the effects in the movie are just, quite frankly, an acid trip. You're going to see stars, you're going to see oceans and deserts, and you're just going to see just all this color and all this craziness that I can't even really explain to go see it. And quite honestly, if you're big into visual effects, I think the movie is worth a ticket alone if visual effects is kind of your thing. Because the visual effects they do in this movie are just bigger and crazier than anything that Marvel's really ever done before. So I highly recommend that if you're into visual effects, go see it. The post-credit scene of the movie is also interesting. I'm not going to spoil it, but a certain Avenger who, you know, people may not have seen for a little while in the movies shows up and kind of talks to Doctor Strange, and it pretty much implies that Doctor Strange is going to be in somebody's movie next year, so that's always exciting. And there's another one that kind of sets up a future villain for future Strange movies down the line. With that, I'm going to give Doctor Strange 7 Eye of Agamottos out of 10. It's a decent movie. It falls into a lot of classic Marvel storytelling tropes, so if you're someone who's kind of getting sick of like typical Marvel origin movies, Strange might not do it for you, but the effects in the movie are things that just really haven't been done a lot before, and they're really fantastic to see on screen. You know, I recommend it trying to see it in 3D or maybe IMAX if you can, because the movie is just, it's good, it's awesome to look at. The plot, meh, but it is awesome to look at. The downside is that the plot is decently generic and it's kind of short, but the cast is fun and the effects are great. So yes, that is my review for Doctor Strange. So if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and until next time, I will see you all later. Peace. Oh yeah, and by the way, I just a couple days ago, I ended up taping the second Two Black Two Nerdy podcast with a special guest. I'm kind of in the middle of editing that right now, and that should be up probably sometime next week. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, and again, I will see everybody later. Bye-bye.